David had always been fascinated by rare books. He spent hours scouring obscure websites and online auctions, seeking out those hidden gems that other collectors overlooked. One night, while browsing a forum dedicated to rare and forbidden literature, he came across a cryptic post mentioning an elusive tome called The Book of Shadows. According to the post, it was a grimoire so rare that only a handful of people had ever seen it, let alone owned it. Intrigued, David sent a private message to the poster, who responded almost immediately with a link to a dark web auction site. The item description was sparse, but the starting bid was astronomical. David hesitated for only a moment before placing a bid. He had to have it. To his surprise, no one else bid against him, and within minutes he received a confirmation email. He had won the auction. The email contained instructions for the transaction, which required a large sum of cryptocurrency. David followed the instructions meticulously, and within days, a package arrived at his doorstep. It was smaller than he had expected, wrapped in plain brown paper and tied with twine. His heart raced as he carefully unwrapped it, revealing a small leather-bound book. The cover was devoid of any title or markings, but as he held it in his hands, he could feel an unsettling energy emanating from it. He opened the book, and to his dismay, the pages were blank. Confused and disappointed, he flipped through the entire book, but every single page was empty. Just as he was about to close it in frustration, he noticed a faint handwritten note on the inside of the back cover. To read the words, "You must bleed." David felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard of books that required blood to reveal their secrets, but he had never encountered one himself. His curiosity outweighed his apprehension, and he pricked his finger with a pin, letting a drop of blood fall onto the first page. To his amazement, words began to appear, written in an ancient spidery script. The text was an invocation, a dark spell that promised knowledge and power in exchange for a ritual sacrifice. David was both horrified and fascinated. He spent hours poring over the book, learning its secrets and performing minor rituals that yielded startling results. Objects moved at his command, and he could hear whispers from beyond the veil of reality. But the more he used the book, the more it demanded of him. The rituals became darker, the sacrifices greater. David's obsession grew, consuming him. He lost his job, his friends, and his sense of reality. The whispers in his mind grew louder, more insistent, driving him to the brink of madness. One night, as he performed yet another ritual, the air in his apartment grew cold and still. Shadows deepened, and the room seemed to warp and twist around him. The book's pages fluttered, though there was no breeze, and the words glowed with an eerie light. The whispers coalesced into a single, commanding voice. "You have taken much. Now you must give in return." David felt an invisible force compelling him to stand. He walked to the center of the room, where a circle of runes had been drawn in blood. The book levitated before him, its pages turning rapidly. The voice grew louder, chanting in a language he could not understand. His vision blurred, and he felt a searing pain in his chest. He looked down to see a spectral hand, dark and clawed, emerging from his own body, gripping his heart. Panic surged through him, but he was powerless to move. The hand tightened its grip, and with a final wrenching pull, it tore his heart from his chest. David's scream echoed through the apartment, mingling with the triumphant whispers of the book. His body crumpled to the floor, lifeless. The book closed itself and fell beside him, its leather cover now adorned with his blood. The room returned to its normal state, leaving only the dead silence of a life taken too soon. Days later, the police arrived, alerted by worried neighbors. They found David's body, his face frozen in a mask of terror. The book lay beside him, seemingly innocuous. It was collected as evidence, but no one dared to open it. As the book was placed in an evidence locker, a faint whisper filled the room. "The collector always gets his due." And so, the book waited, biding its time, ready for the next curious soul to uncover its dark secrets.